Um, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for registering for the Milwaukee Efficient Buildings Benchmarking webinar today. My name is Pam Ricker de la Rosa. I am Environmental Sustainability Program Manager with the City of Milwaukee, and I am um, kind of directing this program, managing this program for the city, along with our wonderful consultants from Clearly Energy, who are running the help desk and the knowledge base, which you will learn more about in the webinar today. Um, but I will go ahead and get started just with some more background around this benchmarking ordinance, kind of its origins. Um, I will do a kind of a quick demonstration of kind of some of the basic websites you will need to visit here to get started with your benchmarking. And then I will turn it over to Claire Rabbit from Clearly Energy to go through some more of the knowledge base and the help desk tools that are available. So I will go ahead and share my screen. All right, so hopefully everyone can see that. So again, there's a beautiful skyline, and today we'll be talking about the Milwaukee Efficient Buildings Benchmarking Program, which is annual tracking and reporting of energy use in large commercial buildings and then smaller government buildings in the city of Milwaukee. Okay, just give me one quick moment. We'll try that again. I was not able to advance my slides. Okay. All right, there we go. So what is benchmarking? It's kind of a wonky term. But this is basically a term that's used. It's basically a process to annually upload your energy use information from here in the city of Milwaukee. We have We Energies as our utility provider. Upload that energy use information into the free Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool. The ESPM is a valuable tool to track energy spending on energy use over time, compare the use in your building to other similar buildings that also use the Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool, and then also to identify errors in utility bills. So I kind of track and report the energy use in City Milwaukee buildings every year, and I can tell you I've definitely found errors in our bills. So kind of you see here some of the graphs and things like that that are available once you put your data into there can be very helpful just to look for anomalies and things like that. Studies show that commercial buildings that benchmark use about 2.4% less energy each year for at least the first 3 years of benchmarking their energy use. But other cities that have similar benchmarking policies report buildings using, 10 to 14% less energy when they start just kind of paying attention to what they are using and maybe adjusting operations or making some changes to try to reduce those monthly utility bills. And, because of that benefit, many buildings in Milwaukee already benchmark their energy use, which we learned last year when we were kind of going through the development of this ordinance and seeking feedback from different large building owners here in Milwaukee. So buildings overall make up a majority of cities' greenhouse gas emissions. This pie chart is from the City of Milwaukee's 2018 greenhouse gas emissions review. And based on this 2018 kind of inventory, about 76% of our community greenhouse gas emissions came from the building sector. And an overall 25.5%, or about a quarter of our emissions, came from commercial buildings. And this is similar to kind of the breakdown in other American cities. Accordingly, there is a focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the commercial building sector, which also allows building owners to realize often a significant reduction in their energy costs as well. So some of you may be aware from about 2019 to about 2022 or so, there was a convening between the city and the county. It was called the City County Task Force on Climate and Economic Equity. And through that process, we had 9 different work groups, and we sought feedback from members of the community on what are different things that we can do to try to reduce energy use, reduce our greenhouse gas emissions here in the community of Milwaukee. And I chaired the Green Buildings Work Group. And one of the big ideas that came out of there was this benchmarking ordinance. And that was recommended by a lot of people working in commercial buildings, energy efficiency experts, and people with that expertise. So that became one of the big ideas, one of our big 10 big ideas in our climate and equity plan to help achieve 45% greenhouse gas emissions reductions by 2030, achieve net zero by 2050, all while creating hundreds of green jobs in making the improvements to our buildings, to our transportation systems that need to happen to realize these reductions. The benchmarking ordinance itself was developed in early 2024. We sought community feedback through, I believe, 3 to 4 kind of community conversation sessions. And then it was adopted by the Milwaukee Common Council in early July of 2024. And now we're in our first year of implementation. There may be a question as to why we are focusing just on large buildings, and this graph tries to provide some explanation of that. So on the left, we have kind of the number of buildings of different sizes in the city of Milwaukee. So we see the vast majority of, structures, buildings in the city of Milwaukee are less than 15,000 square feet. If we're talking about, however, the percentage of built square footage in the city of Milwaukee, most of that is in large buildings. We see 49% of that is actually in buildings that are 100,000 square feet and larger. Then, 7% more if we drop that threshold down to 75,000 square feet. And then another 9% if we drop that threshold again to 50,000 square feet. So with this ordinance, we will be capturing, about 65 or so percent of the built square footage in the city of Milwaukee, and have that, have energy tracking and ideally reductions follow in that way. And when the city of Milwaukee joined, or when we adopted that ordinance last year, we joined dozens of other cities, as well as states nationwide. So you can see there are a number of estates now that all buildings in the state need to track and report their energy usage every year. Minnesota's kind of most recent, I believe. They had their first deadline June 1st. But you can see that there are a lot of other communities within the Midwest that have adopted similar policies. I believe the city of Chicago has had their ordinance in place for at least 10 years. Same with Minneapolis. So we are joining a lot of other major cities in the Midwest, in the country, in adopting this benchmarking ordinance. Okay, so now I want to just kind of give a quick run through of kind of the most simple steps that you can take to get started benchmarking your building or your buildings. I'll go to the Energy Star Portfolio Manager page first, then go over to the We Energies accounts online. If you are a building owner or manager with a number of tenants, We Energies does have the landlord tenant portal, which will allow you to obtain the aggregated whole building energy use for your building, so long as you have at least 4 tenants in that building and one account that you pay, so a common area or a parking area, let's say, and just kind of try to run you through that. I'll stop sharing. Go to my browser. Okay, so this is the Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool. And it's, currently run by the EPA, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And if you do not have an account, then this is the first step that you will press, create a new account. You'll choose in here your username, password, information about yourself, and then down below your organization, and confirm your identity. And then the next step would be to enter the information about the building that you plan to benchmark. But just for purposes of demonstration, I'm going to go back in and kind of just show you one example of the buildings that I benchmark for the city of Milwaukee. So this is Bayview Library. I'll wait till everything populates here. So you see, you'll have here, the address of your building, the year that it was built. Um, when you jump into details, that is where a lot of the information about the square footage of your building will go and will appear to you. We have had some questions already about what to put in for occupancy. If you have that information, you can put that in. Otherwise, you can default to putting in 100% occupancy when you go to, create the kind of account or profile for your building. Then in terms of the energy, this is where you will go to put in your energy information. So you will, and again, I'll jump over to the We Energies account and kind of show you where you get that information. But this is where you will add a meter. A lot of buildings, you might have multiple meters, especially for a large building, but you might just have one electric meter and one gas meter. Um, then once you have created that meter information, you can go ahead and just input, the start date and end date as according to your bill, and then put in the usage. This is for electricity. So for electricity, the usage is going to be in kilowatt hours, and you'll input that data here. And then you will add, if you want to be tracking your cost reductions over time, which I definitely recommend, you'll be putting kind of the electrical charges for that particular month. You can add that here. And the way that you add that is by adding a new entry and then just putting that information in here and then hitting Save Bills. And so if you're just entering 2024, this is one way that you can do it. You can just manually enter those 12 months of 2024, save bills, and then you're good for electricity. Let me just delete this so it doesn't yell at me. And this tool is very good at telling you if you have entered something wrong or if it doesn't like some way that you entered it. It basically will not save. It will say a lot of times you'll notice you actually can't have dates that are overlapping. So you just want to make sure you have, the next bill starting like the day after the last bill ended. But again, the system will basically not save appropriately if there is, some information that is wrong in there or that they don't like how you formatted it. You don't need to save. And then, oop, okay. Similar for gas. Here again, here the unit of measurement is therms. So when you're looking at your utility bill, it should be listed in therms. And then again, you'll put the number that is listed there on your bill and then add your cost. And then again, save your bills. And then what you get over time, and again, this is where I have discovered anomalies and things like that in the energy use for different city buildings, you'll have this chart running over time. So the red is the natural gas usage. The blue is the electrical use. After you put in your data, you can refresh it and you kind of just have a visual way to, again, identify issues or say, okay, well, winter of 2021 was maybe super cold. So that makes sense of why the gas usage was high at that point. And then also over time, you will get this kind of summary of the changes in your building. Energy cost reductions. If you want to, I mean, you can go further if you want to track your water use, waste usage, things like that. You can use this tool for that as well. Um, and then this kind of measurement up here is basically kind of telling you your energy use intensity and how it compares to other similar buildings that use the Energy Star Portfolio Manager tool. So the baseline that we have here for City Milwaukee buildings is 2009. For most of the buildings, we kind of started tracking energy use from that time. At that point, the energy use intensity, which is basically you see here, kBTU is, electricity and gas and steam, whatever energy you're using, that's kind of like all of that together is a kBTU. So we'll take that number divided by the square footage of your building and you'll get your energy use intensity. Um, and so when we first started tracking, we can see that, the energy use intensity of Bayview Library was 18.44% higher than the median. Now we see, thanks to different improvements that have been made, LED lighting changes and, maybe changes in operations, now their EUI is actually lower than the median. So this is a good kind of just measurement to see how your building compares in terms of its energy efficiency as compared to similar buildings, but also over time as you continue to track your usage. And then I can also show you the sharing, which is another kind of piece of after you have all your data in here, you have all your electricity, your gas data in here for each building. You will need to go to contacts and you will need to add basically city dash of Milwaukee. Let me see how it turns up here. You'll search for that and it came up here. And then since you will not have this connection to me, you'll do add new contact and then I will get that notification and will accept you. And then we'll be connected and you will then be able to, when you're done inputting your data, kind of just share it through this tool with me through the sharing tab. And here, you can just go in, share or edit access to a property. Just go in there. And then again, you'll just select the property. So if you have multiple properties, you can select those, select who you want to share it with. So in this case, it would be me at City Dash of Milwaukee username. And then um, I think we put some instruction in there, but you really just need to share kind of a read-only level of data, not full access or exchange data, things like that. You just the read-only is fine if you don't want to. You can, the level that you choose, but you don't need to go further than read-only for the purposes of this ordinance. Okay, then we'll jump over to We Energies. Okay. And I think I had this pulled up already, so it's kind of a little bit easier. But if are searching for an account, there are different ways that you can kind of identify your building in here. Um, you can put in the last 5 digits of your account. You can put in the house, the house number, things like that. Let me just go back and check the last 5 digits of that account. It is 00018. Okay. Oh, I have all this stuff in the way. Okay. And then let's see, let's go this basically through this portal, you can see about 2 years back of your energy use. So again, if you want to go further and you want to be just kind of getting a longer view of your energy use in your building, you're more than welcome to do that. Um, but here we can kind of, again, get kind of a visual of the energy use over time. But then here's where you will get that information that I was inputting into the Energy Star Portfolio Manager. The bill date, this is going to be, the end date, your electricity, your kilowatt hours, and then the electrical charges, the therms, the gas charges, and all of that is right here. And this is one way to do it, if you just have one building or, just want to kind of go through it that way, that's totally fine. Um, I'm not going to go through it here because we have more limited time, but you can also download this information in an Excel, and then in the Energy Star Portfolio Manager, let me just show you that really quickly. Um, you will just download a similar Excel spreadsheet from here and then make sure that the information is in the right places, and then you can upload it as kind of a faster way to get your data into Energy Star. And then I just wanted to show one more thing. This is a landlord tenant portal, which again is through We Energies. And if you are new to this system, you will need to go through an owner agreement and sign up. And again, you do need to have um, at least 4 tenants in your building and have at least one account that is tied back to you that you are paying. It's reverting to you. And then you can get it set up and get the kind of just the whole building data for that building. Because what we care about is the energy use of the entire building rather than what different tenants are paying. We just care about the EUI for the whole building. So I will stop sharing and turn it over to Claire.
Great. Thanks so much, Pam. As Pam mentioned, my name is Claire Babbitt. I'm with Clearly Energy, and we are working with the city through the use of our BEAM tool, the Building Energy Analysis Manager, to help them manage the policy. So I will go ahead and share my screen here. So today I'll just be walking you through the program knowledge base, some of the forms, the building owner portal, and then there will be time at the end as well for some Q&A. But to begin, the city of Milwaukee has a knowledge base, which is a public-facing website. You don't need any login to be able to access this, and it serves as a comprehensive resource library for all information related to the Efficient Buildings Benchmarking Program. Here is where you can find information on the policy, things like announcements and upcoming events, detailed compliance guidance, and other resources. And this is also where you will go to access the Claim My Building form, which will allow us to have updated contact information in association with your property, as well as any other forms that you need to fill out. So, for example, if you'd like to request an exemption or if your building has a discrepancy that you'd like to update, you could find forms to do these things here as well. And then there is also a general ticket that you're able to submit to have any questions that you have answered. You will, oh, and yeah, this is more on the forms. So again, the Claim My Building form will help to provide us with the accurate contact information. And other forms I'll take you through on the demo as well, but you'll be able to click the new ticket tab and that's when all of those will populate and you'll be able to submit any that you need to. You'll also have the option to set up a building owner portal account. This is a web-based application platform, and it enables building owners to be able to view your compliance status of any submitted reports, as well as detailed information on your building and its energy consumption, things like previous compliance data, as well as any correspondence that you've had with the city related to the ordinance. And to access this portal, first you would need to register for an account, and the link for that and as well as the knowledge base will be sent shortly in the chat as well. And I will note as well that you should please register with an email that we have on file in association with your building. So this should either be the email that you use to benchmark your building and portfolio manager for a building you've shared with the city, which we do have sharing guidance forthcoming soon, but that is not yet available, or one of the emails that you provided when you claimed your building. For your building to pull up within your building owner portal account, we just need to have you sign up with an email that we do have on file. So with that, I can switch over here to give you a quick tour. So within this page here, I am signed into a building owner portal account. I'm going to switch over to the knowledge base here, which I will mention. Just want to be super clear that you do not need to have an account to access the knowledge base or any of the forms, but just logged in here now for the purpose of switching back and forth. So now I've landed on the program knowledge base. So as you can see, there are several different categories here where I can receive pretty comprehensive resources on anything I need to comply with the policy. So if I was interested in attending additional webinars, I could click into this view articles page. And there is some information on upcoming webinars as well as recorded webinars will be posted here as well. So once the recording for the webinar today is available, that will be added here. Or if I was interested in learning more about the policy, I could click into this page. And for detailed benchmarking guidance, I can click in here and I can access many of the resources that Pam walked you through or go through a general how to get started with benchmarking, where I can access things like the covered buildings list, the program map, and then guidance on how to benchmark my buildings. I'll also mention that there are several resources and tools available for your use. And if you are interested, you can click into this article here to learn more. So I could look at portfolio manager resources, and that's the Energy Star portfolio manager that Pam walked you through today, and various other resources as well. So now I'll show you how to create a ticket. So to do this, I would just click this new ticket tab, which is in black on the left-hand side of my screen. For the purposes of today, I'll just show you the Claim My Building form, as this is something that we will need from everyone, as it'll allow us to have updated contact information with your in association with your building. So if there's something like a discrepancy in your benchmarking report, we can automatically email you to let you know, and important policy updates, compliance status, things of that nature, we would need your contact information for. So if I click this form here, it will bring me to this page where I'm able to submit. I can go through, I can say my name is Claire Rabbit. I don't have an example here, but I'll just do 1, 2, 3. I would enter my Milwaukee building ID here, and I will show you in a moment our program map, which you can search for your address on. And then I would come down here and enter all of these form fields, review the terms, and then all I would need to do is click Submit Ticket. And once we do receive your form, you will receive notification and someone will write back to you. As well as if you have any additional questions, we will get back to you on those as well. So let me come up here and show you quickly our program map. I will mention that our program map can be used to search for any buildings on the city's covered buildings list to see information on your building and exactly where it is on the map. So this can be particularly helpful if you're looking to differentiate between a couple buildings that are close together. But I don't have an address on the top of my head, but if I were to search an address, it would populate. And then let's say I searched for this address. And as you can see, I can see the address, the Milwaukee building ID, which I will need for several purposes, including filling out the form and benchmarking in Portfolio Manager, address, building name, the owner, and the gross floor area. And as you can see, if I was confused on exactly which building was being referenced, I could zoom in more closely here and take a look. There are several other forms available for use as well, so I absolutely suggest getting yourself familiarized with the program knowledge base and with the different forms that are available. But for now, I can switch over to the building owner portal. So the first thing I'll mention here is if you wanted to edit any of your user account settings, you could just click your name here. My account is listed under building owner as the name, but I could do that with it here. I can also click this inventory tab on the left-hand side of my screen to be able to view information on my buildings. And again, just want to reiterate that what will allow your buildings to pull up when you create a building owner portal account is ensuring that we have an email on file in association with those buildings. So either A, the email you use to benchmark in Portfolio Manager and share with the city, or B, the email address or one of the addresses you use to claim your buildings. But within this inventory tab, you can see that it's organized by your building's Milwaukee building ID or building IDs. There are also various headers here where you can see different types of data. This property specifically does not have any, or both of these properties do not have any information that's been pulled in yet from Portfolio Manager, but I would be able to see additional information once that's been complete, like the site energy use intensity and things like that, as well as other similar analytics. I will mention too, you can filter any of these columns. You can scroll to any of these columns. You can sort ascending, descending, several different things that you can do here. Also, once a benchmarking report is shared with the city for compliance with this ordinance, you will receive an email with any corrections that need to be made or if your property is in compliance. And the corrections that are specified in the email will also be tied to a label, which will populate here. So you'll be able to see maybe it says gap in data, or maybe it says in compliance. And then you know that your property's compliance status is good to go. If I wanted to view more detailed information on a specific property, I could also click this little blue eye here and click into the property. And then I could see much more detailed descriptions based on the columns here. Also, for any communications that I want to see that have happened in association with my property, I can click on this little note tab here. There haven't been any for this specific record, but if I wanted to create one, I could click New Ticket, and that would take me to just a general inquiry form to be able to ask a general question. Another helpful thing to note is that you're able to add other members in association with the buildings that you have on your account. So any members that you have, or sorry, any members that you add will see exactly the same inventory that you have. If they need to see a different inventory, we would need to have their email addresses in association with their respective buildings. But if I did want to add members to see my exact inventory, I could do so through going to here, and then I could click invite a new member, enter their name and their email address. And then for this role tab here where it says building owner or building viewer, the main difference there is that building owners can add additional viewers while building viewers cannot. They can only view the inventory and everything related. So with that, I will stop, or sorry, I will switch back over to my slides. One more thing I'd like to note before we move into our Q&A section is that later in the compliance season, once benchmarking is completed, you will receive a building scorecard for your building. And this provides a snapshot to help you better understand your building's energy usage. And the insights that you learn from it can, if you choose to, help you to make optional building upgrades, which can help to improve energy efficiency and reduce utility bill costs. So this is just one of the pieces and one of the benefits of benchmarking your building and being able to compare its energy use to similar buildings. So with that, we can go ahead and move into the question and answer portion of the webinar. So if you have any questions for Pam or I, please feel free to drop those in the chat and we will be happy to address that. I do see a initial question here, which was asked, and it says, so do you have to register on both the city and the Energy Star sites, which I assume the city means the building owner portal? And no, while it's not required that you sign up for a building owner portal account, it is recommended due to the benefits associated. But theoretically, you do not need to sign up if you don't want to.
I think the one thing that would be really helpful and would like you to do is go through the claim your building form though, so that we have your email address and can be notifying you that way. There's a reason you got a letter for the covered buildings list. It's because the main piece of information that the city has right now is from the master property list, and that's your physical address. So I would say at a minimum, please do that, claim your building so that we have other ways to get in touch with you. But yeah, the building owner portal is optional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brooke dropped the Claim My Building form link in the chat as well. So if anyone wants to click on that to access it, you do not have to be logged in, but as Pam said, would like to collect that from you. The next question I see, I think will be for you, Pam. It says, what is the standard ID? I'm trying to set up an account with Portfolio Manager.
Um, I are if we can maybe follow up with you. I don't know if you would be requested to input a standard ID. You will probably in about a week or so be able to pull from within the Energy Star Portfolio Manager. There will be a drop down from which you can pull up your City of Milwaukee building ID. There just was a little bit of a queue with the EPA getting the Milwaukee building IDs into their system to be able to drop down. Um, but for right now, I believe you should still be able to create your Energy Star Portfolio Manager account and then add your Milwaukee building ID later. I believe that refresh is coming through June 19th. Is that right, Claire?
Yeah, I believe so. And it will be also, there will be detailed instructions as well as a demo video to walk you through that added to the knowledge base once that becomes available.
Mhm. Um, I can take the next question too. So can you create one Energy Star account that has all of our properties? Yes, yes, you should be able to. The what I was demonstrating to you, that is one account for the city of Milwaukee that has 102 buildings in it. So you can create your one Energy Star portfolio manager account and then just add the different buildings in there and then complete all of the different information just from within that one account. And then when you go through to share, and you have all the information in there for all of your buildings, you can just select to share the data for all of those properties at the same time.
Great. Thanks, Pam. I
Okay.
think
Mhm.
the next one is for you as well. It says, we are a part of a condo association. The property manager bills us for electric and gas, but not for steam and water. How do I set this up in Energy Star Portfolio Manager?
I think we'll probably need to follow up with you on that. That may be one to work with We Energies to get their assistance on that. I'm going to drop into the chat. There's also free assistance from We Energies to get started on benchmarking. Um, I will kind of just drop that URL into the chat, but Mr. Wood, we may need to get back to you um, with with the response to that particular question. But I will put the kind of free We Energies assistance again with getting started with benchmarking in the chat.
Great. Thanks, Pam. The next one asks is if there is restaurant space in the building but not occupied in 2024, should we specify the use as a restaurant?
Um, I would say probably not if it's not being used as a restaurant. Um, I'm guessing it's a mixed use. Um, so if there are other kind of uses in the building, I think I would default to that. But we can also confirm that with you, Ms. Huber, in the follow-up. The next question, yeah, so that from Tracy Thomas, yeah, there is a drop down, and there probably are a lot of other kind of IDs from other cities and other jurisdictions. That is where Milwaukee's will appear, but that had to be kind of added to Energy Star Portfolio Manager. And again, there was a bit of a delay from EPA side to get that updated. But again, with kind of the refresh, they are telling us that, June 19th is when that will be available as a drop down. So, apologies, it's not there right now, but in about a week or so, you should be able to just pull your Milwaukee building ID directly from that drop-down section of Energy Star.
Great. Thank you, Pam. I can take the next one asking, does the city have a record of square footage for each building? And specifying that the building that they have is part hotel per residential. So the city does have a record of square footage. I'm going to drop the link to the program map within the chat where you can search for your building by address. And then you can see once you pull it up, the square footage that the city has on record for your building. If you do identify any discrepancies when you go to look at the gross floor area information, please reach out to the help desk and let us know, and we'll be happy to make an update if you can provide us with building drawings or a diagram, floor plans, something of that nature. We will be able to make that update with documentation.
Mhm. And yeah, just building on, so the record that we have for square footage is from the tax assessor's office, the City Milwaukee tax assessor's office. So we are discovering that there are some kind of discrepancies in there. Just for an example, um, all the square footage of like 7 different self-storage buildings were combined into one. So that's one that you can reach out to the help desk and, because in that situation, if none of those buildings are 50,000 square feet, then they don't need to benchmark. So there are some situations like that, again, because we are working with the square footage tied to a particular tax key.
Great, thanks, Pam. And I'll drop the link in the chat as well. If it is a gross floor area update and it's not that the building is actually under that square footage threshold, you can just write in either through an email or general inquiry to let us know with documentation. But if it is under the threshold and you believe it should be removed from the list, we do have a form to make that request. So I'll drop that in the chat as well.
Okay. And thank you, Mooney, for replying to Miss Alm's question. So what will the information be used for? Will this information be published or made public? Um, it will not right now. The individual building information will not be made public. We are trying to get a sense of the energy use intensity in our different buildings so that we can provide kind of more targeted support around energy efficiency to those building owners. If your building is performing well though and is energy efficient, you have a low EUI and you would like to make that known, we are planning to have kind of an opt-in option. As a building owner or manager, you can opt in to have your building appear on a map after this kind of initial benchmarking period is done. You can elect to have the energy efficiency of your building appear on a map because what we would like is for um, the market to help drive more energy efficient buildings. So again, if you would like to have the energy efficiency or the EUI of your building appear on a map, you will have that option to opt in. But if not, the information is just going to be kind of aggregated. The individual EUIs, we're not planning to make that public.
Thanks, Pam. I also see a follow-up from Janet here when I dropped the map link in the chat, saying that the link does not take you directly to the map. When you do open up that link, it should take you to the using the map page that I opened up earlier. And on the right-hand side of your page, you should see the program map and the search bar to search for your building address to pull that up.
Is there any case, Claire, where you might have to be signed in for the map to work? I don't believe so, but we might
Not
just need to troubleshoot that.
Not for the map, but typically if you're not able to pull it up, that can be resolved if you go and clear your cache. I'm happy to follow up with you, Janet, as well if you're not able to access it once you do that.
Great. Well, I get if you have a few more questions, we do have a little more time here until 1 o'clock to answer them. But as mentioned, we will be providing kind of the responses to these questions to you after. And you're always more than welcome to submit your inquiry through the knowledge base or just email benchmarking@milwaukee.gov is another place to just a maybe easier way to remember and to submit your questions regarding this. Thank you, Claire.
Totally.
I guess if there are no other questions, do you all have anything that's like front of mind that you'd like people to walk away with from this webinar? Like
Yeah,
tips or key items?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess I just would say, I know if you're not doing this, it can, seem kind of like an intimidating process. And, we don't want it to be. That's why we're trying to, that's why we've hired Clearly Energy to help with, to assist building owners and managers to do this. We think that it's possible to do without having to request outside assistance and things like that. That would be, that you would need to pay for. So I guess, before you were to do that, look for outside help. I think I would just try to exhaust all of the free resources that we have available, being the help desk, being again, We Energies that has offered to, to walk you through this. Um, yeah, we're here to help. We understand it's the first year for a lot of people doing this, and so we're understanding.
Yeah, I think the only thing I have to add to that from my end would be that there are tons of resources available on our program knowledge base. So I'd highly encourage you, even if folks don't make a building owner portal account, which I do think will be very beneficial if you choose to, but I highly suggest reviewing the knowledge base and all of the resources available there. And if you still have any other questions, we are absolutely here to help and would love to assist you in any way we can.
And please do keep in mind we will have at least 3 more of these webinars coming up. And maybe going into more detail as we kind of learn more, have more tools available. Um, so feel free to join the July webinar, August, September. Um, yeah, and always just contact the help desk for assistance.
I also do see Amanda just asked if we will be sending the recording Zoom call. I'm dropping in the chat the link to the additional webinar registration, and this is also where you will be able to find the webinar recording once it is available.
Um, yeah, thank you for your question, Tracy. If you have at least 4 tenants, and again, one account that you pay in your building, you should be able to get the aggregated whole building energy use through that landlord tenant portal, which I will put the link to that in the chat again. Or I didn't put it in the chat before, but I just kind of highlighted it when I was walking through, but I will put it in the chat now. So that ideally would be the way that you would again get the aggregated whole building energy data for your building. If you have less than 4 tenants, that would be something to reach out to us about. Because if you're not able to get that whole building energy kind of data, you may be eligible for to request an exemption. Okay. Yeah, please just I would go to the knowledge base then, Ms. Thomas, and we can kind of, go kind of work with you more one-on-one through that.
Bob, for any follow-up, please contact us via the help desk. So you can email the email that I sent in the chat just a bit ago, the benchmarking@milwaukee.gov, or you can submit a general inquiry form and we will be in touch with you. Here, I'm going to drop the link for the general inquiry form now.
I wonder, can we drop the phone number as well for the help desk, that
Yes,
888 number?
let me pull it up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because we understand not everybody wants to be going via email, so we wanted to have that phone number available. You can pick up and call.
Getting all three here.
Okay. Great. Well, again, thank you so much, all for attending today, for doing your best to work through this. If this is kind of new to you, and again, I just want to stress we are here to help. I've experience working in dozens of other jurisdictions across the country, um, and so we really are here to help you with this process.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.